South Korea marching under one flag in the Olympics in 2018? I must have been dreaming. Oh, wait. The opening ceremonies at this year's 2018 Winter Olympics sure were interesting, but why were they so interesting? I'm sure if we look at Korea's history since World War II, we'll get to understand it.
But before we start, let's get thinking. Try a KWL chart to organize your thoughts. In the left column, write what you know. In the middle column, write what you want to know. And in the right, after you watch the video, write what you have learned. Let's start with what we know. First of all, we know that the Winter Olympics were chosen to be in South Korea. North and South Korea marched together under one flag in the opening ceremonies, and there has been a lot of tension in North Korea lately. Now, let's move on to what we want to know. Why is there a North and South Korea to begin with? Why are tensions so high between North and South Korea? Why is it a big deal that they're marching together anyways? Basically, what's the context? Let's try answering this question before the presentation. Why do you think that North and South Korea marching together under a single flag is important anyways? Alright, let's get going. Pyeongchang 2018, North and South Korea under one flag. Or, we're trying to make peace, you dummy. But before we get on to the Olympics, let's start from the beginning. By the end of World War II, Russia declared war on Japan. At the time, Japan was still the colonial power of Korea. This led to Russia invading and capturing most of northern Korea. And, of course, the United States didn't like that very much. The USA feared Russia controlling the entire Korean peninsula, so they invaded Korea themselves through the south, going north towards Russia. The USA and Russia decided to divide Korea along the 38th parallel, making North and South Korea. In South Korea, the United States instilled democracy, and in North, Russia instilled communism. This led to the Korean War in 1950 when North Korea invaded South Korea. This prompted the United States to fight back against North Korea. And just as the United States was about to defeat North Korea, China stepped in. This led to the creation of an armistice and the demilitarized zone. As you can see, the DMZ clearly creates an entirely new border by slicing through the 38th parallel so differently than before. As you can probably guess, this renegotiated border called the DMZ displaced thousands of civilians from both North and South Korea. It is estimated that up to 750,000 people had their immediate family members separated by the DMZ. South Korea still works to reunite family members divided by the border today. After the Korean War was over in 1953, there started an entirely new war, the Cold War. Not known because it was cold, but because it was fought in secret by larger powers, being Soviet Russia and the United States of America. The Cold War was a proxy war because of how they manipulated Korea and other smaller states. The Cold War generally lasted between 1960 and 1991, where over this time, many events which caused tension between North and South Korea happened, most of them violent. After all that, can there ever be reconciliation? Here's just some events of reconciliation throughout the Cold War. As you can see, there are many of them, and what's happening today is just another step towards a unified Korea. Let's refer back to our KWL chart. So, now let's fill in what we've learned. We've learned that tension in Korea is due to their ideological differences. We know there has been moments in the past towards reconciliation, and we know the recent turn of events are a good sign of change. Also, what about our question? Were you right? Is there anything you'd like to add to it since watching the video?
And that's it. Wow, what a lot of information to cover so quickly. But at least now we can understand why being a part of this piece of history is so interesting. But that's all we have time for today. Maybe some other event will wake me up from my sleep and I'll just have to make a presentation about it. But until then, goodbye and good night.
I'll be over at 10, you told me time and again, but you're late. I wait around and then I run to the door. I can't take any more. It's not you. You let me down again.